Hi, I'm Sandra and I'm not a full-time artist. I'm not even a part-time artist. I do have a job as a designer and art is and always has been my hobby. I'm going to work on an illustration for an October drawing challenge, so if you like, grab something to draw or work along with me and have me on the background and we can be creative together. I actually plan to put this video up in September so people can find it and join the art challenge that I will talk about in a little bit. But life happened and everything got a little delayed and I'm a little unfocused at the moment and I'm making a lot of little mistakes, as you will see. And the reason is that my cat got really sick 2 weeks ago and I was very worried about him. And he suddenly started breathing heavily and we took him for scans and blood tests and tried to figure out what's wrong with him. And 2 weeks later he stopped eating and we went for another checkup to see if anything got better. But we had to let him go. Let's talk about Inktober, October Drawing Challenge, Peachtober. There are so many different ones, meanwhile, Midgetober. I don't even know all of them. So every year for about the past 8 years or so, I try to complete the Inktober Drawing Challenge, but never have I ever had enough time to finish it. I always had something going on, school, university, work, moving countries, studying abroad, other life events. And I'm sure I'm not the only one. I was ambitious and my plans always got disrupted. And also in the past few years I was thinking about creating my own drawing challenge, but the problems were still the same. Even though I'm always highly motivated, I have little time and you never know what life will throw at you. So this year I took a few days off work throughout October to be able to join a drawing challenge. And I also talked about this with my friend on Instagram and she suggested doing just one prompt a week. I immediately felt opposed to this idea because I can be a very ambitious perfectionist. But after thinking it over, I decided that it was actually a really good idea because it would at least partly solve my time problem and give me the opportunity to spend more time on less art pieces so that I could add more details to each artwork, which I really enjoy doing. That would take a lot of pressure off me and maybe others that struggle with similar problems. I need to quickly tell you a little bit about the drawing that I'm working on right now before I continue. So as you see, I'm pointing out here, I'm missing a line. What the hell am I doing? And this is not the first mistake I was doing with this illustration. I actually cleaned my desk before I even started with the entire thing. So I took the paper with the line art down from my desk and then I sat down to start drawing and I couldn't find the paper because I was sitting on it. More mistakes to come. Yay! Though I must say, I fixed every single one of them. This line wasn't a big issue and, well, you will see the other one soon. So, if you are looking for a low-pressure October art challenge, feel free to join. You can do one prompt a week or just one prompt the entire month. You can do whatever you want, really. My intention is to inspire you to create, but not to make you feel like you are under pressure. You don't even have to share anything if you don't want to, but if you do, please remember to tag me at AureaTober. Use my hashtag AureaTober 2023 because I'd love to see what you're creating and cheer you on. And I'll also share your posts on my story. So what you see me doing right now is I'm working on the dress of this character, and I realized I am not coloring the dress right now. I am coloring the pumpkin, which is obviously a different color. Here we go, the next mistake. Luckily, I'm working in watercolors, so I took a clean, wet brush and just took layer for layer of the color that I put down from the painting, and I dabbed it a little bit with kitchen towel as well, and I could totally salvage this, and later I can just paint over it and nobody will ever know that I made this mistake. Let's talk a little bit about the art materials that I'm using. The paper is really smooth. It's a Hanemühle watercolor paper. It has 300 GSM. I think that's how you say it. Grams per square meters, you know what I mean. It's heavy. It's really heavy. But it's really smooth, and that's awesome because I like doing my line art with multi-liners size 0.005. So really tiny, and yeah, if you have a tooth to the paper, it's going to be so painful. You have to go over it several times and you will never have a smooth line. And the watercolors that I'm using are Kuretake Gansai Tambi watercolors. These are pretty awesome. They lay down in a really smooth and even layer, and if you haven't tried them, I can really recommend them. They're a little pricey, but they last really long as well. The brushes, they are completely random. I cannot tell you which brushes I'm using where. The one that I'm using right now is a one from a set of, I don't know, 12 brushes or so. That was super cheap. They have very small tips and they're awesome for details. Some of them are really awesome for line art as well, though I do like doing my line art mainly with the multi-liners at the moment. Yeah, you will see a couple other brushes as well. I have no idea what they are. Some of them I got from art subscription boxes, and it really doesn't matter what brushes you use as long as you feel comfortable with them. I'm recording this part for, I think, the third time or so, if you haven't noticed, I'm not a YouTuber. I wouldn't consider myself a YouTuber. I am so unexperienced. I have no time to do this often. I don't know, I pop out a video once a year or so, or twice a year. It's so hard sometimes. I'm still learning a lot, so if this video isn't great, it's okay. You can tell me in the comments what I can try to improve it. I'm still learning a lot. I'm so uncomfortable talking over and hearing my own voice, but it's much better than filming my face while talking, because that's super awkward. So what I'm actually trying to talk about is, you have probably noticed by now, but I am working in layers. So most of my images, most of my artworks, if I work in watercolor, have probably about like 5 to 8 or more layers, because I'm just gradually going darker. I'm getting more bold, more brave, and I use a lot less layers than I probably used, like, I don't know, 10 years ago, because I have a better feeling of how the paint works and how dark it actually dries. So I think we are on layer 3 on the top part of her dress, and I'm adding the shadows right now. I'm trying to get real dark here, and I'm definitely going over it a couple more times, but the problem is if I go too dark, I cannot go back, because if I take the color off, as I have done on the pumpkin part, it will just get patchy and not look nice, and I want to try to get a even coat, as even as possible. Well, you might not know this if you're not following me on Instagram, but I'm actually drawing this character the third time. The first time I was drawing the pumpkin witch was in 2020, and it's very simple, much more simple than the last year. It has just a plain yellow background with some falling, I think they're leaves or petals. I actually don't know what I was drawing. And last year in 2022, I revisited and was trying to improve a lot on it. I changed her dress a bit. I put quite a complex background in that took me longer than the character illustration, and I added some small details. And I didn't like the 2022 version. I was a bit unhappy with it, but I guess I learned a lot, and I'll keep going and keep learning. So this year I decided I want to include the pumpkin witch into the drawing challenge, because I wanted to draw her anyway, and I was curious to see what other people's interpretation of this character would be like. I already saw a couple entries. Well, as I said, it's already well into October. It's October the 6th today, and I was actually planning to post this in September. But yeah, if you want to see what other people already came up with, check out the hashtag AureaTober 2023 on Instagram. It's really cool, and it's very exciting. So I decided to make this character a little different this year. I changed the colors quite a lot. I made her clothes turquoise instead of brown, and then I realized that it would totally clash with her blue hair, and I thought, well, blue isn't really an autumn or pumpkin color at all, so I changed her hair color to a bright red. I got inspired by falling leaves. You know, they have this really cool gradient, or they have patches of different colors on them. So this year I decided to make her hair red with a slight gradient to orange, like autumn leaves. And I also did not include a background this year because I wanted to create all the illustrations for the challenge with a black background, because I really like how that looks, and it will kind of bring the pieces together as if they are like from a set of drawings or illustrations or paintings or whatever you want to call this. So if you would hang them next to each other, they would kind of have a common theme through the background, hopefully. We'll see how it turns out. Most of the footage that you see is either just short bits of a part that I was working on, or I sped it up to be twice as fast because I thought it might be too boring to watch the entire thing, and it also would probably be like several hours of footage. So I tried to chop it down to something more interesting. What you just saw me do here is trying to save my painting again. So I put down a layer of the skin color here, and I should probably have painted the skin first. So I'm taking away the color here because it's bleeding. The dark purple from the top that she's wearing is bleeding into the skin color. You can totally avoid this if you let your layers dry long enough, or if you work from light to dark colors. But yeah, I'm lazy and I don't want to wait, and I don't want to blow dry my drawing either. You can totally do that if you're smart. I'm not smart though, and I'm lazy, and this is the way I'm working. I'm just constantly trying to save my illustration from color bleeding into each other. This happened several times actually, and I'm totally fine with that because I know how to save it. You could totally count this as one of the many mistakes that I was making throughout this illustration. But I kind of work always like this, and here it's not so bad because the colors are very similar if you dilute them with water. so I can fix it easily. So, oh my god, yeah, here's the next mistake. So I was trying to wipe something off the painting with my finger, and I had red paint on my finger and I totally smudged it all over her face. So again, I saved her face, and you can see it's a little patchy right now, but I will fix it later. It's, yeah, fun. So again, I took a clean, damp brush. I cleaned my brush and went over the entire area and her face, and it got a little darker than I would have liked it, but then I just made all the skin darker later, so it's totally fine. And if you don't see this video, you'll never know that I messed this up really badly several times. Now you see me painting the background in black with Dala Rowney gouache, and I diluted it with quite a bit of water, but the pigment oh god, is still dark enough. Yeah, no magic there. I'm peeling the tape. The painting is not done yet. I just wanted to get rid of the tape and see the border, which got semi-clean. I got a bit of speckles on the sides, but it's okay. But yeah, so far it looks really good. Look at the little guy, he's so adorable. I'm really happy with him. I drew this crow before as well. If you scroll down on my Instagram, you'll find him. I'll probably draw him a couple more times. I'm adding now a couple more details. I just wanted to make the pumpkin look a little bit more smooth and give him a different kind of texture, because the orange color from AureaTober, it has a different texture than the rest of the colors that I used, and it got a little streaky. I don't know why, but I wanted to fix this with colored pencils. I usually do use a lot more colored pencils in my watercolor or marker drawings, and I didn't need to do that here because I was able to achieve the depth and the brightness of the colors almost completely without colored pencils. And this is it. This is how it looks now. This is the finished piece. Thank you so much for watching. If you're still here, leave a pumpkin in the comments and let me know if you're joining any drawing challenge this October. Bye!